you all. Are you doing this? If so, stop it! Because this is something I'm really good at doing, making myself wrong all the time. Anybody else? I'll give you a really good example of me doing this morning. So, I think I felt like I'd lost a pair of glasses, right? And I've been away quite a bit in the last week, all to different places, staying in different hotels and whatnot. And I thought, oh God, I must have left them in one of these hotels. And I was racking my brain, thinking, no, not that one, not that one. Where have I put them, right? And then also at the same point, making myself wrong for this, saying, oh, the money and blah blah blah, and you're gonna have to go and get new ones. And part of me was like, well, maybe they're somewhere in the house, but I couldn't work out where. And all of this was done with a sense of, oh, I'm crap. And so this morning I woke up, I snoozed my alarm 15 minutes. Okay, I made myself wrong for that. I went into the bathroom and I just thought, I'll have one more look for these glasses. Couldn't find them. As I was looking, I knocked off a glass jar with some toothpaste powder in it, and it smashed all over the bathroom floor. And then I made myself wrong for doing that and was telling myself off in my head. As I bent down to then go and scoop all this broken glass and powder up in the dustpan and brush, I used the dustpan and brush to go under the sink. Under the sink were the glasses. Okay. So this is a really small example of something that is like an epidemic mentally in our head. And especially if you have interpersonal trauma in the way that you were raised, like a negative self-image is really critical. But we can change this. We can change the way we're wiring. And I've done a huge amount of work on my mindset. So my mind used to be a toxic place to live. And it's now pretty lovely most of the time. But occasionally, I still go into a bit of masochism, a bit of disruptive S&M to myself, and get the whips and chains out and start beating myself up, but without any kind of slightly distorted weird pleasure that I think some people get. So this is a totally great example of me going, oh, my body was tired, I need an extra 15 minutes in bed. Do I go, oh, isn't it great I can meet my needs and I don't have to rush out of bed like that? Isn't it great that I'm listening to myself? No, instead I decide to call myself lazy. I catch myself, but I still do it. Go into the bathroom, think, oh, being extra diligent, not creating excess waste, looking extra hard for the glasses, trusting my intuition, knowing that actually they're probably there somewhere. Knock this jar of, to be honest, probably out of date toothpaste powder now off the desk, because it's not the main thing I used to brush my teeth with. And it smashes, and that leads, and actually I was thinking about the glasses as it smashed, right? So it's like, oh, brilliant, because I wouldn't have thought to look there, my higher self, or whatever you want to call it, manifested me dropping it deliberately, something that actually shouldn't have been going in my body anyway if it was out of date, to find the glasses. So it was win-win-win. Give me a note in the comments if how you make yourself wrong. Give me a thumbs up if you resonate with this. Because actually, all of those steps were me making myself, were like me being right. But I make myself wrong. So I make myself wrong for not going on a run today, but getting the email done that I've been putting off for 6 months. Or do I conversely go, well, I can actually run anytime, and that email was so much more important than the run? Or I can run after sending the email, or whatever. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, our mindset is so key, because I could celebrate the fact that I prioritize that difficult to write email. I could celebrate the fact that I'm not addicted to exercise and prioritize it at the expense of everything else in my life like I used to be. I could celebrate the fact that, and I'm great that I still have a vibe of liking exercise. Like, what I mean? Like, we have such a fear, I think, especially in England, of, I don't know, like, I was brought up with, like, loving myself being something negative. Like, oh, in the playground, oh, don't look at her, she loves herself, as though that's a bad thing. And conversely, we have this, addiction to beating ourselves up. If you think about how much energy that is, and if that was poured into loving yourself and appreciating yourself, what better life choices would you be making? What better energy would you be carrying? How much more attractive to be around would you be to people? I'm talking about like sexually, I'm talking well that as well, but like I'm talking about, just raising the vibration, raising the consciousness, raising what it is to experience your life or being a human being on this planet. So, super short, sweet video today. Thank you for the chat, Caratomancy Mesquite. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. But this is the small steps with how we change the world. My first ever YouTube video, like coming up for 3 years ago, was, are you operating from fear or love? And essentially, pretty much every other video I've done, whether it's been on, I don't know, dimensions, quantum physics, consciousness, like communication, is boiled down to that polarity. Are you operating from love and all the different vibrations that come from that point, or from fear? Because we live in this binary universe. We live in a universe of polarity. We live in, day or night, masculine or feminine, like dead or alive, like, the yin or yang, this polarity, this is what we live within. And, there are, of course, spectrums between those, but they are, the moon is either waxing or waning. We're either moving towards sunrise or sunset. Like your mind is either working for or against you, thought by thought. And the more we can work for ourselves, we come into this world alone, we leave it alone, apart from having, God with us 24/7, or whatever word you use. But like literally, other than that, it's you. And you can only be aware of God depending on what your mind is or isn't doing. Do you know what I mean? And how much else you put into your life in order to not allow your mind to be the only thing that you're aware of. Because as an operating system, it's pretty limited. We send 5,000 times more pieces of information from our heart to our head than the other way around. And we also have our gut and the microbiome. And yet, especially in Western culture, we're told like what's going on between our ears is the be all and the end all. Like if you look at the like Western medical system, it just diet, food, what's that? Like, just doesn't understand, just is only very slowly catching on to mind-body communication. I don't want to take this into a video of just slating things that we probably already know to slate. Let's have a little happy whinging corner. That's not what my channel's about. So I'm celebrating the fact I've got my glasses. Woo! I'm celebrating the fact I got the email done. Woo! I'm celebrating the fact I get the extra 15 minutes in bed and a lie-in. Woo! Even though I said I wouldn't do any more lie-ins. Anyway, it's only 15 minutes. I did do 2-hour one. And that was just me sleeping through my alarm. It's different. What are you celebrating? What are you, let me know in the chat, what are you turning round in your mind? From making yourself wrong to making yourself right, and of course, do you know what I mean? Like, of course, with everything, there's a caveat. You can go too far the other way. Like, I'm celebrating the fact that I've had 15 hamburgers for breakfast. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course, there are other ways to like get askew, and on this point, actually, I very rarely watch telly, but I have caught some of this series. I don't even know what it's called, but it's a test of a group of, I like programs that are a bit like social experiments. Like the beginning few series of The Apprentice were very interesting for this. not so much now. It's all people performing for stuff, but this this series is about a group of English people, really diverse group, who I think it's called The Greatest Temptation or something, and they're going through a trek in South Africa, and it's really grueling. And there's a pot of prize money at the end that's going to get split between them all. But along the way, there are temptations to make their trek easier, like nights in bed, or coffees, or donuts when they're really hungry, or someone to carry their bags for them for a really difficult bit on a mountain. And every person who chooses to take a temptation, the prize pot goes down. And essentially, the group is like split in half. And half of the people are like, YOLO, you only live once. When else are you going to get the opportunity to like spend £3,000 on a bed for one night? In the South Africa, blah, blah, blah. And the other group are like, no, this is about how my strength, my mental strength, and I want to get through it without using these luxuries because it's everybody else's money too, and I don't need it, and it's excess, and I'm taking this money from other people. If I spend it, it's not my money to spend. And the others are going, oh, you're all being brainwashed, like you deserve it, you deserve it. And it's really interesting because they all started off going, we're not going to take the money, and then the first person from the beginning, who was a bit like, yo, I'm here to just do it my way. You've all pissed me off. You don't like me. I'm going to spend £300 on a milkshake to screw you. Like, that attitude is really prevalent in society, of like taking the easiest way out. And that's not what I'm saying about making yourself a bit of a tangent. I love a tangent. But it comes to a point. That attitude that's displayed a lot has been really contagious in this group of people, because now half the group have got it, have caught this thing, like I'm going to spend or spunk all the money. And I think they've spent over half of the prize pot, because essentially one ice cream for 300 quid, you could buy a million on the other side. So it's like, where are you doing that to yourself? Where are you pretending to make yourself right, where it's actually self-sabotage? From my perspective, you might have a different perspective if you've seen that program, but from my perspective, anything that you can take too far to extreme. But that's not what I'm saying about my mindset this morning. Essentially, these could be two sides of the same coin. Any direct too far in one direction, it's like the middle way teaching in Buddhism, right? Anything in life can be taken too far, and a strength becomes if you're too confident, you become arrogant. If you're too sensitive, you become, incapable. So it's about easing out of toxicity, is really what I'm saying. Like, where is your mind toxic? Where is it limiting your scope, limiting your strength, limiting your ability to show up in the world and be your best and brightest self? Whether that is actually a way of repelling the world, because you're like, I don't need you, I'm great anyway, like, look at me. Like, that is actually coming from a deep self of wounding and overcompensation. It's like people who bully are actually weak. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're actually scared. You don't need to exert power over somebody unless you're scared of the power you have. Anyhow, we went a bit deep, went into a deep tangent. I'll sing my whale. Have a beautiful day, wherever you are in the world watching this. I'm sending you so much love, as per. A quick note before you do go, and especially if you're new here, ceremonial grey cacao in the house, sent to your door on the link below. I've got some really exciting things available coming up. One, I'm going to be at a load of festivals in the UK this summer, offering workshops around money and how you need to heal our relationship with money rather than turn our back on it when we have a spiritual awakening and think it's evil or whatever. Like, it's about how we shift that. Got workshops on working with trees for healing, as per, my usual, been doing those for years, very popular. And Catalyst, which is the really deep dive group and one-to-one, like mixture of group work and one-to-one and a retreat signature course is going again, launching at the beginning of May, because it's been really popular and people have had extraordinary results in the one that's just finishing. So if you're interested in really changing your life area, jump on a discovery call tomorrow. Like there's on a tomorrow, it could be tomorrow or whenever. There's a link below before May. It's not a just sign up thing. It's about getting the right group of people together and people who I think I can really work well with, and who are going to be the great medicine for each other in the group. And it's a small group. So if that is, if you're curious, honest conversation, like it's not a hard sell. Like if you're not right for the group, I'm not going to try and push you in. Jump, but like let's have a chat, because if it's not that, it could be something else. And I have 4 places to work with me one-to-one, only 4, for a deep container for like 9 months to like let's like sort the shit out life stuff, like let's like the changes you want to make that you're still like looping with, like shifting those. That's what that works for. Like launching the business, like redefining your terms, like sorting the relationship out and the business and the kids and the whatever. Like it's the whole life change. That's what that 9 month option's for. So I've done those with coaches before, and like just so grateful to myself for making that leap, because that is how I've been able to offer the work I do on a bigger scale and also sort my own life out. I have a 1-3 in human design, so I have to do everything myself before I can help other people with it. It's the suck it and see approach. All right. Sending you so much love. All the links are below. Subscribe, like, share. Smash the like button. Smash it. Imagine I'm saying that in an American accent and can get away with it. Love you all. Onwards. On y va. I was about to say all the bits of French I remember, but that next one was fermez la bouche. You need to shut your mouth. You can open it as wide as you like. See you soon. Ciao.